All right, yet another great interview for you guys on the Young Turks here. This is with Noel Lee. He's the CEO of Monster Incorporated. Now, I have to say right from the get-go that they are sponsors, so I'm keeping it real with you. But this guy is fascinating. He's got a beef with Dr. Dre, so it's among the things that are going down. Now, I want your life story is really interesting. You built up this monstrous company, and you did it from your garage, etc. But first on Dr. Dre, are you going to kick his ass or?
Well, if it's physical, he'll kick my ass. But
So he's keeping it real, right away, keeping it 100 in the beginning of the interview.
Legally,
you got him.
I'm on him.
Okay, you're on him. Okay, so we'll get back to his beef with Dr. Dre in a little bit. Let's develop the story, and then we'll see why they're fighting. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So Noel, let's start all the way at the beginning. Where are your parents from?
They're from China, Hunan province.
Mm-hmm. But were you born here, or did you have to fake the documents? Or
Yeah, well, no, yeah. I'm a legal immigrant now.
Okay.
It was conceived in China. My mom was pregnant with me when my dad came over here. He got an assignment to come to the U.S. He was a journalist. He's a great writer, but he had never been out of the country, and so he got offered a position on the West Coast, and everybody says to my mom, "You got to stay, and because we want to see the baby and everything." I said, my dad said, "No, we're going." So they came over on a freighter, and it was the last boat to arrive on the West Coast before the communists took over. So it was October when I came over with my mom. Okay, and then I was born in December, and
yeah, here you are.
Was dead.
So isn't that amazing? So both of us have a very similar story because my parents came over from Turkey. And so in your case, if your dad hadn't said, "Let's go, we got to go right now," right?
Yeah.
Your mom and you would probably been stuck in communist China and honestly wouldn't have gotten out for 40 years. Your life would have been completely different.
Absolutely.
Right?
Well, you know, all the relatives were still in China. I didn't see any of my relatives till 40 years later.
And you wouldn't have built one of the largest companies in the San Francisco area, seriously, and you wouldn't have created all these jobs. So part of the reason, and my dad's similar, like he was, now we didn't have a communist takeover or anything in Turkey, but there was some fighting the streets between leftists and rightists, and my dad, just like your dad, said, "We got to go. We got to go to America, and we got to go right now."
Well, if you look at all what's happening in the world today.
Right, and here we are. We both built successful companies.
Yeah.
But you know what Donald Trump's of the world would have called you? An anchor baby.
And
They would have, right?
Yeah.
And here you are. Now they would say, "Oh, important CEO. We have to listen to him. CEOs are the only thing that matter," right? That's also something that unites us. But according to his definition, that's what you would have been, right? So I'm curious. I know we're going to jump around here, and I want to get back to your story. But you're a CEO. What do you make of the Fiorinas and the Trumps that are running on the Republican side?
Well, first of all, it's entertainment. I don't miss it. TiVo, and I got to see it. But it's really insightful to see, first of all, the response. You really get to see how a person thinks on the proper response and how fast it is and how insightful it is. But I learned a lot about Farina. I think she's pretty sharp. She did well, and Trump is getting a little off to the side that everybody knows. I don't know if it'll last, but it's great to see. I think the other guys are running way behind.
So Hewlett Packard was in Northern California, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I mean, look, to give you guys context, San Francisco's 49ers Stadium is now Monster Park. So I know that, and I got in my notes that within 6 years you had already been up to 400 employees. What are you up to now? How many employees?
We were when we were full on with Beats, around 850 employees.
Okay.
Now we're sizing back because we're not doing the Beats business anymore, so that's a different story.
Right, we're going to get to Beats in a second. The Beats down is coming in a minute. Do the high-powered CEOs in Northern California, you guys hang in a secret club? Or did anybody tap you on the shoulder? You and Fiorina dance?
If you're not in Silicon Valley, you can't imagine what it's like. Everywhere you go, there's important CEOs. But they're entrepreneurs, okay? It could be, 5 kids in a loft, and you got a CEO. Or it could be, 5,000 people, and you got a CEO. But the diversity is incredible. The energy, in the Bay Area is just incredible, and it just like came from nothing. Where Monster was downtown, it was a south of Market, pretty desolate. And now to get rent up there, get offices in a loft, it's crazy.
Yeah. So let me jump around again. I'm going to come back to your music career in a second, which is interesting. And then there's like a superhero element to this where you got hit with radiation, and then and so that's real, by the way. Not the superhero part, but the radiation part. So there's a lot to get to. But you started in a classic American store. You started in your garage, right? Putting together sound cables, right?
You're supposed to do that in California. That's what you do in Silicon Valley. It's all in a garage.
Yeah. So that's what Monster was best known for, right? The audio cables in the beginning. Now you guys do 1 billion products, I think.
Well, we were at that time was a hobby for me. Audio was a hobby. So, because I was a trained engineer, worked at Lawrence Livermore Laboratories, but I wanted to really proliferate my hobby as an audiophile, listen to turntable speakers and all that. So I invented Monster just out of fun, okay? Because I wanted to improve that really thin speaker wire, see if it made any difference, and lo and behold, the rest is history.
Yeah, so Monster, I know from the old days when we were setting up our show, right? First the radio show, then the online video show. We went to the Guitar Center, and we were going to buy cables. Yep. And the guys are like, well, if you want to do a professional show, you got to get Monster, right? And I'm not saying this because they're sponsored. Like that was the only game in town. Everybody, right? So now you guys are expanding to other stuff, but I find that curious that like what drives people. The first talk show I ever did, I was like, that's it, I'm done. That's what I'm doing the rest of my life, right?
Yeah.
But why? Like I think for most people, like why audio? Like what was it about audio that drove you?
Well, it was interesting because like I said, I was so into music, okay, because I was a music listener. That's what an audiophile does. But I was also a player, so I played in a band, played drums in a band, and that was my nighttime gig. My daytime gig was being an engineer, 8 to 5, pocket protector, very, very serious kind of guy, right? And so the music
What got you
part,
more girls, the engineering or the rock band?
Oh, come on, the rock band.
What was it called? It was called like Asian Wood or something?
Asian Wood. Now don't look at me like that. We were playing Crosby, Stills, Nash, America, a kind of acoustic rock, and that's why it was called Asian Wood. And we're all Asian, so it was a unique band. Yeah.
Was it mainly white groupies or Asian groupies that were following
Asian groupies. Asian groupies. Yeah.
Hey, I'll take it.
Oh, they're cute. They were cute. I want to know what they look like now.
I'm not sure you do. So you're into music, you're into sound. Now that makes sense, right? So in 6 years, how do you go from I don't know, man, I'm working in the garage with some wires to 400 employees? What else did you have? Like $50 million business? How'd you do that? That seems like the hard part.
Well, probably was more than 50 million, but that's not the point. That's not the point. Okay, the point is we took a product that nobody paid attention to. In fact, it was free. So in order for it to get retailers to sell it and people to buy it, we have to first tell them how bad their existing wire is. And I found that to be a pattern. And the other things we developed, power centers, headphones, everything, before you should buy one of my improved products, you have to know that the product you have is not working as well as it should, whether it be a cable, a power center, a headphone. So it was the art of the demo. So we were like, that's all I knew, because we had no money for advertising. I couldn't promote. There was no blogs, no bloggers in those days.
There was no money for advertising. I lived it. Yeah. I know it.
Yeah, well, you have to, bootstrap it. Yeah. And the only thing I could do was tell people about it and demo it. And it took a lot of years just to do it, one demo after another demo after another demo.
Now, it says you went door to door, but you didn't go to people's house, be like, okay, here, I'm going to
door to door, meaning a retailer.
Right, of course. You went to the businesses to show them.
Yeah.
Was there like a big break where you went from like, hey, we're struggling and I got to go and, to eat my mac and cheese between the door to door stop to all of a sudden like, yes!
Well, you know what? We're still struggling, so I'm waiting for the yes part.
Oh, Jesus. Don't depress me like that, man. Like, I'm waiting for the yes part. Don't tell me I got to wait all this time.
Look, but we're 37 years, okay? That's a long time. It's a long time to have a brand that's 37 years old and still be relevant today, okay? So most, after 10, 20 years, 25 years, people don't care about you anymore. But we had to keep reinventing ourselves, and we had to keep maintaining that cool factor. Work with a ton of musicians, ton of entertainers, and we do the same thing today. But just to be relevant and have products that people really want, that's the hard part.
Yeah, I hear you. So I know, and you got Aerosmith, Jennifer Lopez, Bare Naked Ladies working with you guys. So we shot an ad for you with Shaq. That's pretty badass, right? So, but come on, there had to be a moment where you're like, financially, you were like, yeah, we made it.
There's evolutions, because first, Cenk, I wasn't a business guy because I was an engineer. I never went to business school, didn't know the first thing about finance and business and supply chain and all. I had to learn all that later. And it, I'm going to say 7, 8 years before I really figured out what kind of business I was in. But it wasn't the wire business. You know what business it was?
No, what is it?
It's helping retailers to enhance the performance of the products that they sold. So if they sold speakers, how do they make those speakers sound better for $20, $30? And then it became power centers, how to protect your home theaters better. And then it became headphones, how to make your phone sound incredible, how to listen to streaming music so the experience on the music is amazing. And that's what we did with Beats.
So, all right, so let's get into it. So, first of all, how'd you get hooked up with Dr. Dre and Beats in the first place?
Well, we had already been in the headphone business because that was kind of like my next foray into what we wanted to do to reinvent ourselves.
Yep.
And at that time, 7 years ago, there were 200 million iPods. Okay, and home theater, the big speakers, big amplifiers, used to be the thing that the cool guys do, right?
Don't point to me. I ain't cool. I couldn't begin to be cool, but okay.
Okay, the other cool guys, not you.
Okay.
But that's what you show off, the big speakers, the subwoofers, amplifiers, cables all over the place. But then the flat screen TV came in. And the woman at the house says, you know what, I want that flat screen, get those speakers out of here. And get those cables out of there. Oh, it broke my heart, right? So, but that was a revolution. Okay, so people got rid of those big speakers. So what is the new speaker? The new speaker is the headphone. Everybody were wearing headphones. So I said, that's it. That's my next challenge.
So, it's funny what people get from their perspective. So most people, almost everybody, just get rid of the cables, right? Like, you're in a house and you're like, oh, hide the cables. And every time you say that, you break his heart a little bit.
Wireless. Oh, what am I going to do with wireless?
No, don't go wireless. You're crazy. You need
no, we
cables.
love wireless. Yeah, look, the word connectivity.
Right.
It wasn't just about wire to wireless.
No, but again, I never thought of headphones being speakers because I'm not in the business. It didn't occur to me, right? But okay, in your case, it makes sense. So so you get into the headphone business, and then does Dr. Dre reach out to you? Do you reach out to him?
Well, okay, that's what an interesting story. So the way it unfolded is in my subsequent talks with Jimmy is that they're looking for a different business model because Jimmy was the first to license
Jimmy's Dr.
iTunes.
Dre's partner.
Oh yeah, sorry, Jimmy Iovine,
also world famous,
chairman of Interscope, was the first to license his content. From YouTube to Gaga. You name it. He's a powerhouse.
Right.
So he licensed his music when nobody else did to iTunes. Okay, an iTunes and an iPod is useless without the content.
Right.
So he broke the mold. Okay, and the industry though went from selling $15 CDs to $1 downloads. You didn't have to download a whole album; just pick the 2-3 songs, and so that model was changing. And then Napster comes in and says, you know what, everything should be free.
Yeah.
And then we're all trying to protect it with digital rights management. Now everything's shared. Okay, so music became unprofitable. Okay, because how does an artist make money selling iTunes songs for $1? And now it's streaming. Okay, so you don't have to pay for it at all if you don't want to.
Right.
So they needed something that was different. We were looking for the next big thing. So actually, it was my son who put us together because I didn't know who Dr. Dre was. Okay.
Oh, really? You didn't? You had no idea?
I had no idea. I had no idea. You know, I didn't come from.
I mean, speaking of like living in different worlds, right?
Yeah, well, you know, I'm Steely Dan, Fleetwood Mac. You know,
you're Asian Wood. I get it.
Asian Wood. There you go. You know, so I really wasn't a hip hop kind of guy. But my son, he was a partier. So he says, you got to go see Steve Berman, who works for Jimmy Iovine, and we got to really get a meeting with them because we were trying to redo and remaster music. So my original intention wasn't to go present headphones. Okay, it was really to show them what we're doing with music, and it was phenomenal. But we got to talking that they wanted to go into speakers. And I said, wait a minute, speakers, people aren't selling speakers anymore. Yeah, dealers who are relied on speakers, they're going out of business. You know, Circuit City, Good Guys, Ultimate Electronics, Tweeter, they're all like disappearing because everybody wanted the flat screen. So we caught it just in time to say, let us work together on designing the world's best headphones. Okay, because at that time, you know, when hip hop and EDM, electronic music was starting to gain favor. Okay, well, actually, not starting to gain favor. Hip hop been around for a while. They had frequencies that were electronic music. There was no real instruments that could play those, but they had no headphones that could play them either. You'd have to have a big sound system. So that's what I did for Jimmy. Jimmy says, I'm going to market it. Noel Lee makes them, and that's what happened.
Okay, so you're doing the back end, you're doing the tech on it, and they designed it. I don't know. I'm asking. They designed it. They did the marketing. They get LeBron to wear it. Yada yada. And that's the marriage at that point.
Well, what one sees on top is we both did marketing. Jimmy did the marketing with the real heavyweights, but everything else we did. All of the design, all of the engineering, all of the IP and innovations, all of the back-end kind of marketing we do with our dealers. But the biggest thing, Cenk, was introducing them to our big dealer network.
So the retailers.
The retailers, bringing them
that's
to
distribution.
the CES show. And, you know, unless you're plugged into that, I get it. An idea won't work for you. Yeah.
Plugged in. That's a nice play on words. I caught it. Okay, so when you guys get bad blood, what happens? I mean, everybody got rich over there. What happened?
It was beautiful, and I really felt that Jimmy and Dre were good friends. I don't know, took my soul and put it to Beats. You know, we designed all the product on a tear. I ignored my other cable and power businesses to the detriment because I thought this was going to be the next big thing. And how do you get somebody like Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre to help you do the marketing and change history? So when we did that, we grew the business, the whole entire headphone business, 4 times. We started with $500 million, then it became a $2 billion company, industry, and we were 62% of that.
Jeez, Lord mercy, 62% of $2 billion. I got news for you. It's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. Okay, and that was in 3 years.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
So, okay, but Beats, we know. Everybody knows unbelievable success story. You guys are killing it. So at what point do you guys start fighting or, like, what goes wrong?
Okay, well, you know, Gizmodo wrote this article that said how Monster lost the world, that we did a bad deal. Okay, because in that deal, it was stated that if the Beats name, because it was only the name I was licensing, ever got sold, that we'd have to relinquish control. It's called the change of control. So I had to give them all my designs, all my IP. So 51% was sold to HTC. And I said, okay, that was my deal. That was premature because we're supposed to at least look at renewing in 5 years. We didn't do that. So 3 years into it, boom, I get a termination. I said, oh, that's devastating because by that time, I had grown the company up to here, and all the infrastructure, the factories, we quadrupled the number of people.
So what is HTC?
HTC is a phone company in Taiwan that they did a partnership with. So they came up 51%. Boom, change of control.
But don't you get paid out then? Don't you have equity or no?
I had a tiny piece. I had less than 5%. So that's okay.
Okay.
Then what happened was, took us 8-10 months to get it all done, sign the divorce paper. 25 days later, they buy back 25% of the HTC.
So they're trying to, in your interpretation of events, and Dre's not here, Jimmy's not here. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's fact. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So they buy 25%. So let me try to understand that machination, right? So they had already worked it out with HTC. Hey, we're playing around here. We need to get a change of control. But then I'm going to come back and do a deal with you at 25%. Well, that's what you're saying.
Well, and really, I'm just quoting the interviews that Jimmy did. He says he invented Beats, and that's the one that really messes us up because he takes all the credit for having done everything. He invented Beats with the intention of selling it to Apple right from the beginning.
Did he ever tell you that?
No, he never told me that. I was working my ass off, okay? I had no idea, okay? And then right after that, right after HTC sold back 25%, okay, so now they only have 25%, they don't have a majority. Carlyle, they do a deal with Carlyle for twice the amount that HTC bought. They take that money and buy back the rest of HTC, so HTC didn't own anything.
Well, there's definitely games there. I don't know which way the games are going, but there's some games there.
You know what? Things like that. A $3 billion deal doesn't happen with Apple overnight. Okay, so that's what we're finding.
Was the HTC deal a much lower amount than $3 billion?
Yeah. It was the HTC deal was 51% for $300 million.
Oh, and then how? Okay, now this is to me again. I'm not in this. I don't know, but I'm asking you questions. Yeah. So to me, what's going to be determinative is how long was it between the $300 million deal and the $3 billion deal?
In between was the Carlyle deal for $600.
No, I know, but between HTC and Apple, how long was it?
Between HTC and Apple was probably a year and a half.
That's pretty quick.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. But look, they were on fire. I'm sure they would contend, hey, we were on fire. That's why we grew 10x in a year and a half. Are you contending like, no, you knew you were going to be $3 billion and all this was a game to get me out? Is that?
No, I don't think anybody could expect that there was a $3 billion evaluation. And even today, this is 2 years later, that people still are questioning, so why did Apple buy Beats? Was it for Beats Music, which is now Apple Music? Was it for the headphones, which, well, there's no new innovations there at all. So what did Apple really buy? So that's the big question mark.
Oh, okay. So, Noel, did it ever get personal? Did you ever tell Dre that you were going to sleep with his wife?
You know what I told Dre? Oh, first of all, I was interviewed right after the Apple acquisition. Bloomberg, Business Insider. So I did a bunch of interviews, and at that time, I still didn't think there could be, anything wrong with the deal. Okay, but I didn't get any of it because they bought my shares out. I said, you know what? They didn't give us any recognition for all of it. And all I did was compliment Jimmy and Dre, what a phenomenal job they did. And really changed my life, okay? Without the insight of what Jimmy did, I got to hand it to him. Nobody does it like Jimmy as far as the ability to do deals with artists. He's the king.
So you didn't threaten to get Suge on him or anything?
Yeah.
You didn't hold him, over a building?
I found all that later. Yeah. I didn't do the building thing. I had nothing to do with the movie, which was good.
Okay. So, are you guys in mid-lawsuit now? Where does this stand?
Yeah. It's just in the middle of it. So it'll be kind of a long thing with discovery and finding out. Well, my real question is?
Well, okay, hit me. What is it?
What did Tim Cook know? What was he told?
Oh, he's going to bring Tim Cook into this beef.
No. Look, I'm just if I'm
freestyling
if I'm the CEO of the world's biggest company, and I make a deal to buy a company who makes headphones, you would think, I don't know, what's the roadmap for future products? What's your technology? Who's the manufacturer?
So you're pulling a Watergate here. What did Tim Cook know, and when did he know it?
Yeah, because afterwards, all the interviews that were done, no mention of Monster. Okay, so Jimmy and Dre takes full credit for what we did. They didn't do any product development. He says, no, we developed all this product. We built Beats.
Did you guys ever talk? Did you, like, was there a conversation where you're like, hey, how come you're not giving me credit? Hey, what's up with this? Did they have an answer for you, or they just didn't pick up the phone afterwards? Like, hey, I don't know.
First of all, a lot of it was done while that was transitioning and became public. And I said, look, please just give us some recognition for our contribution. Okay, and it was done through email. No reply.
Oh, so they just stone cold?
No, just silence.
So since the breakup, haven't talked to Jimmy or Dre since?
No, I have.
Dre, pick up the phone, man. Come on, what are you doing?
Look, I love Dre. He's a good guy, and to this day, Jimmy and I had a really good relationship because I think he learned from me, I learned from him, and I thought we were just like really tight, and I honored that relationship.
So but now I think they should have picked up the phone in the first place. Now, obviously, you guys are in the middle of a lawsuit, so that's going to get messy, and that they're not,
Well, I didn't figure it out. I only filed a lawsuit at the beginning of this year.
But I think that they would, I don't know, logically, I think that they would ask you, hey, but you said you got a bad contract. Isn't that your problem as a businessman?
Yeah, it was a naivete, okay? So, and look, I'm the kind of guy that if I didn't have a contract, a handshake is okay, because I want to trust my partner. Because I don't care what the contract says, if your partner had something that he wanted to do that wasn't straight up on the agreement, they're going to do it with or without the contract.
I hear you. So what's the lawsuit based on then? If the contract was the contract, good or bad, well, what are you suing them for?
Well, first of all, I'm not suing them for money. I didn't.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't put a dollar amount.
You crazy dog?
Well, look at.
What are we? We're suing for patty cakes? No, let's go make some money.
Look at.
I got your back. Where you at, Dre? You fix your face.
Look, all I wanted really was the recognition that we had built Beats and that we had something to do with the $780 million that Dre got at the end, and that he's now the richest guy in hip hop. That we had something to do with it. That hey, I want to thank Noel for helping do that for us. Okay,
but then what are they? Craziest, the easiest lawsuit in the world to settle. Hey, thanks, Noel. Okay, that's it. We're done. Okay,
no. But look, what's left to be found is was there an intention to fraud us? Okay, was it all along the intention to take advantage of Noel Lee, the entrepreneur,
Okay, but if they find that though, then you're gonna want some money.
Let's
keep it 100 here. Okay, so
I feel like that's what happened. I don't know. We'll find out.
We'll find out. Okay.
But if it did, I want some.
Yeah. Okay. Of course. So now it makes more sense. Okay. So now you're doing headphones at Monster. I know because JR wears them.
Yeah.
And, we do this deal, right? So what'd you do? Be like, oh yeah, I'll do even better technology. We will build it better.
Well, look, technology is always evolving on anything, and I designed all the Beats products 5 years ago. So, and the new Beats products, they have to find new places to, engineer and make their products, and the press has really just slammed them, okay, because of the quality and the sound, and anybody who owns a pair. If you ask them, what do you think of the sound? Oh, I didn't pay attention to the sounds. It sounds okay, but I like the way they look, and all my friends have got them. That's why they buy Beats. I went and I developed a technology called Pure Monster Sound because I'm an audiophile. I'm the listener. My passion has always been to bring you a better sound experience that was like right there. So we call this closer to music, and that this is the microphone. Okay, so instead of reproducing what the people hear in the studio, I want to hear what the microphone hears. So that is our endeavor. So the things like closeness, transparency, dynamics. I mean, it's a different world. And, people are recognizing it. So the people who use our product now, flip. Absolutely flip.
So you're saying that 5-year-old technology at this point, that's Beats.
We beat it. We beat the Beats.
Okay, all right. Okay. So I want to go back to radiation for a second. So what in the world happened? You got hit with, it sounds like a story out of the comic books, Spider-Man, spider bit, what happened?
Well,
it's Captain America with the radiation, right?
Yeah. Well, I was at the Lawrence Livermore Laboratory working on laser fusion, and a lot of the work I was doing was classified, but you had to work with...
Everything with you is like some sort of badassery, right? Yeah. I can't. I mean, I could tell you, but I'd have to kill you because I was just classified on the laser fusion business.
I assume it's declassified by now. But
okay.
No, you had to wear these radiation badges. Okay, but I think when they read the badges, they didn't know what the effect was. Okay, so what? And radiation effects, radiation sickness, unless it's a massive dose, doesn't materialize for till 10 years after that. So my nerves got damaged, okay, and then there was a tumor on my spine, so they radiated that, not knowing that I had got radiation before. So they radiated on top of my radiation.
Oh no!
So now
then that's when you became Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah, that's when I was glowing in the dark,
Okay, all right, and
no, that's why I can't walk. Okay, so a lot of people, I use my Segway. A lot of people say, "Oh, look at that lazy guy." No, it's not about lazy. I'll trade places with you any day.
That's right. Yeah, I know. I hear you on that. So, but in my view of this, that's when you became like the audio genius. Is it when you got the double radiation?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Was that the turning point where you're like, wait a minute, I can hear better? Right? I'm going to make headphones and cables.
That wasn't that. It was when I started to glow in the dark.
Okay. So, all right.
All kidding aside, I think under the Clinton administration, they recognized that a bunch of people who work for the government at Lawrence Livermore, Sandia, Los Alamos, they were affected. And so, they gave...
Those are the guys you should have sued. Did they give you any...
Well, no. Clinton had a thing for dispensation, okay?
Okay.
But I said, that's not going to... I didn't even apply for it because it's $100,000, okay? It ain't going to bring back my walking. Okay,
Yeah. No. Of course, that's actually obviously super sad. I mean, anybody would be devastated by that. But you look, I got to give you credit because... I mean, in a sense, you got right back up, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of people, you get hit with that, and you get that disability, and you're going to get depressed, and you're going to get down, right? But you got right back up, and you got back in the saddle. You got so in the saddle that you're going to get $100,000. You're like, I'm not even going to apply.
Yeah.
Now, you tell me before about you didn't have a moment where you're like, yes, I made it. Dude, if you're turning down $100,000 because you don't want to fill out a form, you made it.
No, it's not filling out a form, okay? It was like... all the legal things that you have to go through. But, look, in talking about that part, I believe that I stand for a couple things. One is the entrepreneur that might have gotten taken advantage of. Watch out for the sharks, okay? But as an entrepreneurial business person who's accomplished a lot, that is significant for me. But more important is I talk to kids all the time, with... Dean Kamen, who runs the FIRST organization, of keeping kids in school instead of trying to drop out. Okay, not everybody can be a basketball player. Not everybody can be a DJ or hip hop or be Dr. Dre
or talk show host.
Yeah,
not a big deal.
But the disrespect in the some of the schools of the kids saying, you know what, I don't need school. I'll, hit my teacher. I'll, just. Bad vibe on education that I don't need it because I'm a badass. I go around and I try to say, I'm an engineer, but I'm an engineer who does cool stuff. I get to meet cool people, okay? And I built a company, and you can too, because you may not be that rock star. You may not be. You may not make the NBA.
Yeah.
So I do that with Marshawn Lynch. I did a presentation with him at the FIRST organization. Nick Cannon and I are going to be developing a TV show that hosts for teenagers, young kids, kind of like a Shark Tank. It's called Make It Monster. So he announced that, and we're going to show it at CES. So we'll start filming in December.
We're going to hang at CES? You're going to invite me to some parties?
Oh, yeah,
okay,
man.
all right.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I'm coming to Vegas, man.
Oh.
Yeah, okay, you're not coming for me. I'm coming for you at CES.
Let's go. Let's
so
go.
Is it true that Marshawn Lynch is going to rename Beast Mode Monster Mode?
No. We're going to rename Monster Beast Mode.
Okay, well, that might not be bad marketing. Okay, and then, so I'll end on this. Just to back up what you're saying on education. I wouldn't be here without education, not because of my own. I went to some good schools and then totally wasted it by getting into talk show business, driving my dad crazy.
Yeah, but you're a smart guy.
Right, well, one could argue. But my dad was an olive farmer in southeastern Turkey, didn't have a penny to his name. In fact, his dad had a disease they couldn't figure out. God knows if it was cancer back then, a long time ago in southeastern Turkey. And when his dad passed away, and they have nothing but debt, and they're just farmers, right? And he wound up getting a free education because he scored well on his exams, because his older brother told him, hey, I found out this thing where we don't have to pick olives the rest of our lives. This thing called a university. You go to it.
That's great.
And then I can become a doctor, you can become an engineer, right? And my dad's like, all right, I don't want to pick olives. Let's go try it, right?
Yeah.
And he scored, because he studied really hard, scored well, got a free education, changed our lives forever, right? He built up an engineering company in Turkey, and then came here and did real estate. So there is no bigger believer in education. Education saves lives.
Well, you know what? And when I work with these kids and I cultivate a child who might be rebellious, might want to, do something at school or drop out of school, and if I can save him, he may be the next Zuckerberg, the next Steve Jobs. You never know. And that's what I look at when I see these hundreds and thousands of kids. Okay, and hopefully when we do our TV show, that we're going to be an inspiration to these kids. Study your engineering, your sciences, and your mathematics.
So is there a website for the education?
It's going to be the show's going to be called Make It Monster. We're setting up the website and the URLs and everything for it.
Right. And for Monster, it's monsterproducts.com.
Yeah, monsterproducts.com.
But if you're going to go, monsterproducts.com/TYT. I'm not saying anything, but that's probably what you should use. Okay. All right, Noel.
I agree.
Fascinating story. Thank you for joining us on the Young Turks.
All right,
Appreciate
Dave.
it.
Thank you so much.